everybody, this is John for MTG Nexus coming at you with a quick deck tech with a deck we're going to be playing a couple matches in the Mana Traders December series in, mainly getting a feel for how the deck plays. As a friendly reminder, if you do like MTG content, we are going to be doing a wide variety over the coming weeks and months as we kind of get a grip on some formats as I've taken a break from content creation and need to get back into some idea of where certain formats are primarily modern and historic for right now. We might expand into other formats as time goes along. So this is green-white Heliod combo, named after obviously the card Heliod Sun Crowned. And this is the key card to most of the combos in the deck. The deck tries to either gain infinite life, circa the old Kitchen Finks combo decks back in the day, with like sacrifice outlets, etc., or deal infinite damage with Walking Ballista. Also, as a result of dealing infinite life gaining as well. So, what the deck does is it tries to set up Heliod Sun Crowned, and then obviously, Heliod has a static whenever you gain life with a +1/+1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control. And then Spike Feeder, which is effectively a 2/2 with 2 +1/+1 counters. Whenever you remove a counter, you gain 2 life, and then you just remove a counter. Heliod's ability triggers and you gain infinite life. And then the other combo is Walking Ballista, which you usually have to cast for or come into play with 2 counters, whether it be with Auriok Champion, giving an additional +1/+1 counter from the trigger, or from casting it for 4 mana and then activating for 2. Basically what happens is you target your opponent, you gain a life, it goes back on the Walking Ballista, and it's an infinite loop where you can deal infinite damage to your opponent. Gain infinite life in the process. Even if for some reason you can't target your opponent, you can gun down their entire board, kind of take over the game that way. And then that's pretty much the central theme of what the deck does. And then the rest of the deck kind of plays to that. In terms of +1/+1 counters, you have things like Conclave Mentor, which is very similar to something like Hardened Scales, and then it makes an additional +1/+1 counter when it comes in on a creature. And then has the bonus whenever it dies, you gain 2 life. Auriok Champion makes the combo a little bit simpler because it allows you to cast Walking Ballista for 2 less mana, come in with 2 counters. So you can basically go Auriok Champion, Heliod, Walking Ballista for 2, activate, kill them on turn 4. Also, one thing is this deck has a acceleration package. The old Kitchen Finks decks used to rely on Birds of Paradise and Noble Hierarch. This deck has opted for Arbor Elf and Utopia Sprawl, which provides potentially a more explosive draw, as well as the fact that Utopia Sprawl cannot be interacted with in a lot of traditional ways. You can't bolt it, you can't push it, you can't kill it whatever which way creatures can die. Obviously it's vulnerable to land hate, like Field of Ruin and such, but you can play around that with basics and such. And then there are some 1/ofs in the deck. Most of those can be fetched up by Ranger Captain of Eos, which is another card that's kind of important to the combo. Allows you to fetch your Walking Ballista, allows you to fetch a Giver of Ruin and Protector combo. And you have some 1/ofs like Scavenging Ooze, a couple Skyclave Apparitions. Majority of the important creatures in the deck are 4/ofs, Arbor Elves, Heliod, Ranger Captain. Walking Ballista you don't want too many copies of, but you do want to active obviously access to more than one, because if it were to get discarded or whatever, you lose the ability to kind of do the infinite damage combo. And then Collected Company to kind of tie it all together. Skyclave Apparition is kind of a nice happy medium between interaction and a creature threat, and allows you to answer a problematic permanent in game 1 while not diluting your Collected Companies. And then Eldermarty's Call allows you to go find whatever missing combo piece or whatever utility piece you need for that moment, whether it be Ranger Captain to stop your opponent's combo during a turn, whether it be Heliod or the Ballista, and then kind of allows you to chain things and get the game over. Land-based, pretty simplistic. There are a couple copies of Horizon Canopy, the OG Canopy land, and then 1 copy of Pendelhaven. Protect your 1/1s, although the deck doesn't have terribly many 1/1s or pump them up. You basically have Arbor Elf and the Auriok Champion, but I guess it's kind of a free card to play in some regards. And, that's pretty much the main deck. Sideboard, you kind of tailor it to whatever you're expecting to face. As a green-white deck, you're a little bit vulnerable to unfair things. Has the Dampening Spheres for things like Tron, chokes for the blue decks, which arguably nowadays are playing incredibly fair, but also incredibly unfair with their recursions of stuff. This allows you to kind of slow down what they're doing. Guy's Blessing against Mill, Veil of Summer against discard and counter spells, additional Skyclave apparitions when you need some more removal for problematic permanents, whether it be things like Leyline of Sanctity, whether it be just random creatures like Death Shadows or Skyclave apparitions. Allows you to answer a lot of different things. Third copy of Warlock Champion, kind of a house against burn. Heliod and Rhetoric, pretty good against decks like Storm and such, while also being randomly good against things like Snapcaster Mage and such. 2 copies of Path to Exile when you need a little bit more removal, and additional Skyclave apparition. Once again, really don't want to dilute the deck terribly much. You know, you are a combo deck at its heart. And then a couple copies of Rest in Peace for any type of graveyard shenanigans, whether it be Oops All Spells, Dredge, etc. You know, while you should be theoretically pretty decent against Oops, as you are able to generate an infinite life combo, and they don't generally interact with you, the race can be a little bit close one way or the other, so having that extra little bit of ammo. And obviously, Dredge, pretty good at controlling the board with Conflagrate and such, so it's good to just have those extra little bullets. And, you know, if you feel like bringing it in, could be decent against Uro. I don't have enough experience with the deck to know whether you'd want something against Uro or not. And that's pretty much this deck. This is one of Burns' one of the reasons Burns' been on the decline is this deck, Hammer Time, you know, Uro piles and all that. But this deck, you know, is almost exclusively anti-burn with what it's trying to execute. And it's a very close matchup, although I do think Burn is definitely a dog, especially with the main deck Warlock Champions. So, let's get into some matches, shall we? Okay, we're back with our first match with Heliod Company up against a Luris deck. Yeah, I guess we keep his hand. We have Collected Company, turn 2 Ballista, turn 3 Heliod potentially. Okay. So Boggles. Pass turn. If we don't die before turn 4 and they don't have Path to Exile, this is probably GG. That was dumb. I need to do that for 2. Should have played Conclave Mentor or whatever it is. Sure. Okay. So it's a bit of a gamble here, but if I sack this during their upkeep, they at least can't kill us this turn. So I they have another path, they have another path. It's kind of whatever. Okay, so they're dead. Ballista, give this lifelink. Alright. Against Boggles. So are any of these cards moderately relevant? Rhetoric, a little bit too slow, although it could potentially come down on turn 2. Path obviously can't stop their guys for the most part, other than Spirit Dancer. Rest in Peace does nothing. Warrior Champion does nothing. Veil does nothing. Damping Sphere doesn't do a lot. Maybe we can bring in the third apparition over like one of the Auriok champions in case they bring in like, I don't know, Leyline of Sanctity or something dumb. Also gives us an out to something dumb like Stony Silence, which granted aren't cards that see play much these days, but you know, best to play to your outs as much as you can, or at least have outs to things. So it's our primary way to win. Obviously, we can win on the beatdown play in certain matchups. Boggles is generally not a matchup we're going to be able to beat them down. We're just trying to set up the combo. You know, whether it be infinite life, whether it be infinite damage, you know, whatever. They can't beat infinite life. You know, if they want to go clicky, make me go clicky, clicky and waste our time, then, you know, whatevs. It's one of the advantages of a deck like this is just, you know, random power of certain things. Stands fine, a little bit slow, but I do think it's fine overall. Especially, okay, yeah, go figure. They brought in Leyline, not really a big deal. Alright, just do the thing. It's possible that I just kept too slow of a hand, especially on the draw. I mean, we did get away with it in game 1, but another Boggle. There's not a terrible card, I suppose. So now they gotta suit up their Boggles. Curious what else they could be chilling on. Wouldn't be surprised if they're on like Path to Exile, kind of a reactive hand. Seems kind of meh against a Alright, what you got? Dryad Arbor. Okay. Land, please. Alright, that's pretty good land. Pass turn. Wonder if they're supposed to crack their Horizon Canopy here. So they literally kept a hand on the basis of... Okay, whatevs. Let's pass the turn. Interesting. Why would they need another land? Sure. Ranger Captain, Spike Feeder. Go looking for, I don't even know what's left in our deck to grab. Arbor Elf, I guess. Conclave Mentor. Start swinging in for some damage, I guess. Sure. Six. Ballista to deal with a Spirit Dancer. Sure. So they have to chump block with at least one, I think both. Yep. And GG. Alright, GG. Nice. Back for our second match with Heliod combo. Turn one, whatever. This hand's fine. Do I fetch basic forest? Utopia Sprawl green, or just fetch Temple Garden, Sprawl green? Guess it doesn't hurt to fetch forest here. Wait. Well. Not sure what we're supposed to get here. Guess Ballista or Giver? I feel like Ballista. I'm not sure if they're 4-color or if they're Jeskai. Alright, looks like they're Jeskai, Jeskai stuff. Jeskai field. Lotus field that Aspiring Spike's been working on. Pass turn. Cycling Shark Typhoon. Get a Heliod. This feels like it might be a Tails End for a Lotus field. Pass turn. Sure. Pass turn. Sure. Pass turn. Interesting that they would counter that. I guess it does make Ballista potentially easier. Okay. Do believe that's lethal. All right. All Alright, so probably want these. Chokes, maybe. I don't tend to have a ton of those. We might want Rest in Peace. Eidolon of Rhetoric could be reasonable. Doesn't actually have a ton of islands in their deck, I don't think. They have some. Question is, what is bad? Conclave Mentor. Warrior Champion is like okay, but not like fantastic. Probably gonna shave one of those. Alright. Like Infinite Life isn't particularly interesting against them. That. Really want one Rest in Peace. Get our land on the draw. And seems okay. Like obviously Choke isn't great against them, but it's fine in some spots. We have Serum Visions too? I guess it's possible they're not on Lotus Field version particularly. Should have named white there. That's actually going to hurt us. Should have been white. Should have been white. May as well play it, I suppose. Not that it particularly matters against what they have going on here. What would that have allowed us to get? Arbor Elf. We already have both the ballistas in hand. Yeah, turn 4 Teferi is just kind of annoying. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay. So they'll have 4 mana open. They'll probably have Cryptic Command. Let's get the punt with this. Utopia Sprawl was kind of annoying. Bing bing. Presumably untap those two. Alright, whatever. Light source? Sure. Alright. Don't want to auto pass because of Spike Feeder here. Not that gaining a ton of life is completely irrelevant in this matchup. Skyclave Apparition doesn't really hit that. I guess Damping Sphere is kind of relevant against what they're doing. So maybe I want that over like this Rest in Peace choke nonsense. Go ahead and attack their fairy here. Kind of a waste of an Ether Gust. But sure, whatever. I think this is likely the key turn. If they do something stupid and we can resolve this Collected Company, then we're fine. That and Flagstones. Sure. All right. I think we should move on because, yeah. We just get to resolve Teferi's ultimate. Alright, so probably more interested in Damping Sphere, honestly. Joke's honestly kind of a joke. Seems okay, not like particularly interesting, but fetch Temple Garden here. Okay. Tails on the trigger. Sure. Sure. For some negation. This does turn on Heliod, so it's a bit of a risk. Jeopardy theme, please. Do 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 do. Oh, doesn't look like they're liking the. Wait, what did they do? One, two, three, four, five, six. Sure. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sure. Do they have access to pass? I thought they had some number of pass. I guess this primary removal spell is Bolt on deck, huh? Alright, GG's. And ding, Fraser done. Nice. Yeah, we're back with a wrap up with Heliod combo here after a couple of matches. I think these matches kind of took away some of the important things about this deck. Is, you can put your opponent, you have enough pressure to put your control opponents in a spot where they are forced to respect that and then just die to the combo. So, this is one of the matchups that I was kind of like, okay, how does this deck ever beat a control deck that knows what the combo is and can stop it for the most part? Well, I guess if you play carefully enough, or if your opponent leaves you an opening, you can find a way. Just the ability to assemble a combo is pretty reasonable, between having effectively 4, 6, 8 copies of one combo, and then, 4 copies of Heliod plus 2 Eldamari's Call. And then you have a okay, not great beatdown plan, but you can put enough pressure on your opponent to force them to react, and then you have enough instant speed stuff with Collected Company and such, or the ability to shut things down with Ranger Captain before you go for a combo. That makes it a little bit difficult. It's not quite Devoted Druid combo where they can just assemble the combo over and 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 over again until you run out of removal spells. This deck has a lot less moving pieces, so it's a little bit less, you don't have to have Devoted Druid, Vizier, and combo piece. You just have to have Heliod plus combo piece, whether it be Spike Feeder or Walking Ballista. And your particular combo has to be relevant. There are some matchups where Infinite Life isn't particularly relevant. That's kind of annoying. And, those matchups, kind of like the control matchups that can just recur cryptic commands over and over and over and over again, never deck themselves. You eventually deck yourself, or, deck like Tron that can just restart the game with something like Karn. But beyond that, there's a lot of matchups, Death Shadow, Burn, Ponza, a whole lot of decks that just cannot beat Infinite Life. So that's one of the reasons why this deck is so powerful. Beyond that, not really having much to say. The sideboard, I think we used most of it, except for Gaia's Blessing, obviously, but we didn't really see a mill deck. I kind of like the 2-of approach. You don't want to like overly board and hate cards in a lot of these matchups, as you have a lot of moving pieces. You don't really have a whole lot you can cut. Skyclave Apparition, this card just continues to impress, even as relatively slow as it is in a format like Modern. Still, it's a 2/2, comes down, deals with something. Unlike, other effects like this, it doesn't with Oblivion Rings or, any of that sort of Fiend Hunter back in the day, etc. When it leaves the battlefield, they don't actually get the permanent back. They get the, a token, which is annoying, but, your deck's kind of built to beat, 2/2s and 3/3s. Whereas, certain permanents like, I don't know, say Leyline Sanctity can be quite annoying. But, as we found out against Boggles. Deck's a blast to play. Definitely a deck I could see myself playing some more. But as always, if you like Modern content, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we're going to be getting back into the Modern format, and hope to see you in the next video.